We are live, I think. All right, well, that was a very disappointing game. Devils dropped to Vegas 3-1. It kind of was a lot worse in when you look at the game than 3-1. I thought if it wasn't for Allen, I think this game could have easily been like 5-1, 6-1. I just got finished watching the post game, and I was a little surprised, I guess, that Sheldon Keefe didn't really lay into his players as much as I thought he would. But he did kind of lay into some of the reporters there. He's just like one of those answers. He was like, "Yeah, I think I already explained that answer, so fuck off." But I think that this game was all around just disappointing. It was one of those games where I feel like they weren't connecting on a whole lot. I thought Shimon Nemec had a rough game. I guess you can't put it all on him. I'm just saying in terms of kind of wish he came out had a better game. But again, he was not at all the reason to blame. I mean, he's a rookie call up. Like there's there's more important people on the roster, I think, all around that didn't play well. I think it just, and it's not like, I don't think this isn't one of those games. I mean, Jake Allen played unbelievable. I think he is kind of exempt from anything I'm about to say. But you look at just from a team standpoint, and I don't have the stat. I mean, they were talking about in the post game with the Devils how I think the offensive zone time was like, I don't know, like 27 minutes for the Knights, and then Devils only had like 19 or something, but it was a big amount. And then Ozo time, and also the shot attempts are like high danger chances. It's pretty evident that like this just wasn't a good game by the Devils. I mean, yeah, they made a push for it in the end, but I didn't even think that they deserved to be in the game. Towards the end there, it was just like not a good effort from. I mean, first period was like a close game, so it wasn't like they were getting blown out or anything like that. In the first period, it was close, not a lot of shots. But then the second period was just not any, I guess, cohesiveness. I feel like with the way that the Devils were, getting into the zone. They weren't even getting in the zone. They weren't even getting chances. They weren't even generating anything. There wasn't. I mean, you look at how the Vegas players played and how they were able to really apply pressure in the ozone. They were able to get chances. They had a lot of chances. I mean, bunch of odd man rushes, which I'm not a fan of. I don't think that I don't think that the Devils' defensive game was great. I mean, again, like wipes out in the beginning of the game, and it was just not a solid performance at all. There were just so many like not good decisions made getting the puck out of the zone. There weren't the coverage on the defensive end. I think was like even on the last play. I think in the second period they didn't score, but Allen had to make a good save. And then I mean, Bratt skates right past the guy in front of the net. Like it's luckily they didn't score, but like. Yeah, because I think Luke Hughes peeled off, got the guy who was first to the crease, and then there's a trailer coming in, and Bratt just is skating past Jake Allen's crease. It's like you gotta post up a little bit and try to avoid any, second chance rebounds there at the end of the period. I just felt like you could tell that the Devils were outmatched. I mean, this is Vegas Knights team. Even though they were struggling a little bit, this is a really, really good organization, right? This is an organization that has won cup, has won a cup, has been to the Stanley Cup a couple of times, and they are not, they're not an easy team to play against, and they are not a team that's going to kind of roll over. I feel like the Devils barely making it out of Pittsburgh, and that game was a bit of a flag. I mean, they won, which was great. Good win in the shootout, but they should have won that game handedly, I feel like, if they want to be a top contender. And I think, too, right, like, of course, you have to look at, they don't have Markstrom. They don't have Hischier. No Siegenthaler. Nemec is getting called up, and he is a rookie in a sense, right? Can't put it all on him. And a bunch of guys on the team are still trying to find their own, I mean, I think Luke Hughes, I've been a big fan of Luke Hughes, but even Luke Hughes is, he's trying to still find his way in terms of being a really all-around solid D. Kovacevic, again, same thing, like trying to find his way in defensive end. Like I think all around, the offensive zone, offensive side of things, like they weren't even able to generate a whole lot. I think they just got suffocated by like the neutral zone play, and the transition game. Like once you're able to stop the Devils on the transition, it's really hard for them to kind of pick things up. Especially you don't have the Heishers and you're missing key guys or whatever, and it just kind of showed. I feel like the play by everyone on the Devils was just kind of, like I'm gonna say mediocre, which is not like, it doesn't mean they weren't trying and doesn't mean they weren't putting in effort. It was just like, I guess what I'm more so not a fan of in this game was the decision making. It seemed like people were, I don't know, I just didn't see, it seemed like the decisions they were trying to make throughout trying to get out of the zone just weren't really there, like they weren't making good decisions. And they were not only trying to force plays, but I thought that they weren't taking care of the puck in terms of possession. I think the Devils, when they have possession, is when they're the most deadly. And this game, they didn't have possession, and not just possession, but I think like key possession, high danger chance possession, getting shots on it. I mean, you saw in the final, I mean, if it wasn't a high stick, if that puck just hits like the bottom part of the shaft and goes in, right? Like they're a 1-goal game away from tying it. Like getting pucks on net and being able to, just put pressure like that and just throw the puck to the net. That's how they get goals. And I'm always a little bit confused as to why they don't do that more. Just getting more pucks to the net, have something happen. Get some kind of chance happening. And it's just been frustrating to see an effort like this in the past couple of games too. It's that inconsistent effort of not just putting more pucks to the net, having an overall like awareness and know-how of like generating chances in the offensive zone when teams kind of step up to them, and it's like, hopefully this break is going to help them out. I mean, they have one more game in Montreal, and honestly, like Bryce on the broadcast said they have to win this game. I do agree, but I kind of have a feeling it's going to end up in an overtime win, or overtime win, shootout win, but or a loss, or we'll lose in overtime or something. I just don't know. I don't see the confidence in them to pull this off in 60 minutes. Although I will say that they have that long-standing record right now that they've won in Montreal for I don't know how long, but they've been winning in Montreal for a long time. So that's a bit of a positive, I guess you could take away from that. But outside of that, it's been a rough stretch here, a rough go, and I feel like they definitely need this break. They need this break to reset and kind of just get their like rhythm back and their confidence back. And it just seems like they're not on the same page, not effort wise. I mean, again, I think that they're there, and but I just think like the playmaking decisions and kind of the timing of each player, the rhythm of just kind of getting a feel for where each person is and everything, and like coverage in the defensive zone, not having too many odd man rushes the other way. It just seemed like this game it crept back. Like there are games where they have a bunch of odd man rushes, and then there's other games where they're able to tighten up, and this is one of those games where I felt like there was a bunch of odd man rushes, and it just wasn't I guess cohesive game. They didn't. I didn't feel like they played complementary hockey. I mean, you hear that all the time in football, a complementary football. This game, I just didn't feel like there was that like support for, you know, the back check or when, like, and that first goal, I mean, tough bouts, right? Like, I think Nemeth shot it, but then no one knew where it went. And then goes the other way, right? And that's a tough break, right? Only one person, only the Vegas Knights player saw where it went, but then it's like, it's another on-man break, which, but I mean, the first goal was the first goal, but the second one, I think just, like, that shot from the point, I will say that's the only one I felt like maybe Allen should have had. It just didn't seem like it touched anything. It was on the ice. Felt like it could have had that. But again, like, it's not an indictment on him. I mean, if he got that one, it doesn't matter. The Devils only scored one, and didn't really generate anything significant until the final 5 minutes of the third or whatever. But yeah, just over. I mean, not much more else to say. I mean, it's not really a long post game. It's pretty disappointing. And again, I don't think, I know Nason said, like, it's just carrying and all that stuff. Oh, my camera just froze on me. I know Nason talked about how it's about, like, caring about the play and everything, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if the players didn't care. I think it was just decision making. Like, it's the decisions that they made that weren't really, they didn't make good, hockey IQ decisions, and that's gonna come, cost them against really good teams like the Golden Knights. And forget about their slump that the Knights have been on. It's like, this is a really good club and a really good organization, as they say. But and when you play like that against really good clubs, then you're gonna get outplayed, and you're gonna get ran over, and they kind of did this game, right? I mean, if it wasn't for that kind of, I think it was a lucky goal and the Devils got, and this game could have easily been 4-5-1, 6-1, if it wasn't for Allen Sanders' head. But disappointing, not much to really talk about, and other than just hopefully they can move on past this, get a win in Montreal, and just head into the break with some momentum, something to feel good about, just something, right? Like, and hopefully they can all rest up and come back after the Four Nations thing, and hopefully, Jack stays healthy. Like, that's, I think, the last thing I'd want is, like, you already have all the injuries, and for Jack to get hurt or anything, or sore or tweaked or whatever, that would really suck. But hopefully they can have a break and have that break benefit them. But yeah, this game, there wasn't really not a whole lot of positives, at least personally from my end. I just didn't, except for Jake Allen, but he's always been playing well lately. So just kind of the same story with him, not getting any goal support. But yeah, it's rough. I mean, they have a bit of they have kind of a cushion. The cushion is running out in terms of the standings, but again, they're still in the hunt and kind of ahead of certain teams, but they keep going like this, and they may not be so far ahead. So they got to definitely start winning a bunch more than they're losing, and hopefully they can get that win in Montreal and rest up for that Four Nations break for most of the guys, and move on and just get off to a better start when they come back, because this has been kind of tough to watch lately. Tough to watch these past couple games. So that's it. I don't really have a whole lot. I don't really need to say a whole lot. Don't want to say a whole lot. This has been a disappointing post game, and hopefully next time I hop on here, it'll be more of a positive post game. But